How to create your own rules and filters in Xian 2012. Well, it looks like you're the kind of person who's always on top of things and wants to learn more. Let's continue learning more about Xian 2012's Netflow feature and how to create your own rules and filters. To be able to monitor specific traffic flows that are not delivered out of the box by Xian, you can create your own filters and create rules for using them. First, you need to have a clear idea of what you want to monitor. The following points will help you to define this criteria in an easy way. How do you want to aggregate the data? For example, by port, destination, IP address, etc. Do you want to filter on a specific characteristic? For example, you want to check a specific source port for an application or a protocol. To create a filter, right-click on the device icon and select the properties from the contextual menu. Then click on the Filters tab. Here you can see the filters that come out of the box and the ones that you created manually. Now click on Add to create your own filter. In the Filter wizard, you'll find three tabs: Parameters, Aggregations, and Filters. Parameters. In this field, you give your filter a name and a short description. Aggregation. In this field, you indicate what kind of elements you want to create for monitoring. For example, if you choose Source IP, it means that the elements created in Operations Manager will be based on the source IP. You can also create thresholds for these elements. In this way, you can later on create a rule that monitors the amount of traffic for an IP address that is sending data. Filters. This wizard will allow you to narrow down the monitored traffic. Maybe you're only interested in port 80 traffic or only a specific protocol. Also, you can filter on a specific port, which makes it possible to check out the behavior of a specific application. For example, port 443 for HTTPS. The creation of filters is not enough to start monitoring. You have to activate these filters by creating rules. This is easily done from the Device Properties window. Go to the Active Rules tab and select the rule on the right side, and click on Add. Now choose if you want to add bytes per second or packets per second. Now the rule wizard will appear. In the Filter tab, you select the filter you want to use as a base for this rule. It can be any filter that came out of the box or one that you created yourself. After you choose the filter, go to the Thresholds tab. If the filter has been running for an extended period of time, it's possible that there are visible elements as you can see in the screen below. However, if not, you can still set up thresholds for the elements that are going to appear. You have the option to set up three kinds of thresholds. Dynamic. This threshold is a moving average over the past n data points and can be set with conservative, loose, or normal prediction types. Automatic. This is a threshold that is calculated over a number of data points and then set fixed. Manual. If you opt for this threshold, you have the power to decide all aspects pertaining to that threshold. In the Disable Elements tab, you have the option to discard elements if the traffic reaches a certain low point. This prevents you from receiving counters and alerts on elements that you are not interested in and would only mean a larger workload for Operations Manager and SQL Server. In the Schedule tab, you define the intervals in which you want the rule to run. It is recommended to not use too low of an interval because it could cause significant decrease in the server's performance. A good best practice is a value in between 10 to 30 minutes. In the Active Rule Options tab, you have the option of defining the severity level. This is the alert level that is sent to Operations Manager. It is a good best practice to use critical only for those levels that are set with a manual threshold, and warning for the automatic or dynamic one. This is done to avoid generating false alerts. Also, in this tab you have the choice to disable the option of sending performance data to Operations Manager. Use this option if you're only interested in the alerts above or under a certain threshold. It can reduce the load on the environment. In the Name field, you have the option to add additional information to the rule name. This information is also sent with the alert to Operations Manager. This is useful if you have multiple rules with the same or similar name, in order to prevent confusion. The Data Optimization tab contains the settings you can use to reduce the amount of data sent to Operations Manager. It's based on an algorithm that identifies a counter that hasn't changed its value for a determined customizable lapse of time. So Xian won't send this counter repeatedly, until the value changes. Instead of sending it every time, it will use the value under Performance Data Heartbeat to send data once every that value. It will only go into this mode if the past number of reference counters is within the tolerance change, as defined in the tolerance range field. Under normal circumstances, it is not required to make any changes to these fields, and you should be able to leave them with the default values. In the Device Update tab, you define which will be the thresholds for newly discovered elements. If you opt for monitoring new elements, it will use the threshold type which you are using for that rule. Also, you can define if the Disable Elements feature should be applied over that new element and with which limit. Thank you guys for watching this tutorial. If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate in contacting us at www.jalosoft.com. Have a very nice day.